We are live. Welcome, Dominic, to another Workshop Wednesday. How are you doing?
Let's see. I'm gonna clear my throat.
Opportune time.
Doing pretty well. It's crazy that you were here like a few weeks ago. That's about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we can get into, just so there's proof. Let's see if I can. Let's see if this works. So this is me in the recording studio. This is Dominic and I, also in the recording studio, and then Dominic and I recording an acoustic song. So that's proof that we're actually together in New York. Yeah, it was awesome. I got to see Dominic will probably get into it, but came to New York for a few things. Had some work to attend to at the beginning. Visited with friends Evan and Jake and Anna and Emily. Everyone that was in New York. It was super good. Saw Dominic's debut performance as the baker in Into the Woods in New York, and that was amazing. That was Saturday. Dominic can go into that a little bit further. And then we recorded from 6 to midnight in a proper recording studio with an audio engineer. And it was really amazing.
So. And you had your first soup dumpling.
And I had my first soup dumpling at 1 a.m. in New York, and it was amazing. Yeah, top tier.
Yes, I guess going through that weekend, I mean, I feel like, so we've really only done 2 Workshop Wednesdays before this one. And for this phase, and I feel like everything that I was working on then basically wrapped up that weekend. Like I had, the first one I had just auditioned, and then the second one was like a little bit into rehearsals, and now the show's been over for a couple weeks, and that's been really weird, but man, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. It was very cathartic to finally perform this role that I knew for years and was going to perform. And also bringing music to life that we had written, or at least worked on this summer, but one of the songs has existed for a year now. And doing the actual vocals for that song was crazy. And we did the Feels Like We Only Go Backwards cover. That was a lot of fun. So now I'm really just been spending the past couple weeks regrouping, resting, but also shifting my focus to kind of the next phase of things. So
well,
yeah, how about you?
The next okay. What is the next phase of things, Dominic? I know, but for our listeners or future,
the next phase of things really, the Did I Hear Dare stuff on the horizon is definitely where a lot of focus is. I feel like my focus right now is songwriting in all aspects. We'll get into it a bit later on some of the other ways that I'm hoping to work on songwriting in the coming months, but free write, which was a concept that I talked about in our previous Workshop Wednesdays that I finally done a couple of. They've been awesome. It has been great to force myself to write music. And, the hour I'm in there is stressful because I basically I've gotten it down to 5 minutes for setup. It's not the most elaborate setup. I only have one camera, but basically once I have the song in a roughly finished, where I know that I'm not going to be able to add anything else to the song, I just play through it 5 times and just change the camera angle. I don't even stop the take. I just change the camera angle so I can splice together at least a visually interesting looking video. But the songwriting, I'm really, I don't know. I felt like I had gotten a little bit stale and that I didn't know if I had the ability to write interesting songs. I felt that I kind of got into a rut for a bit where once I knew all the chords and how to play piano, that some of the creativity of songwriting like disappeared for a bit. And
Hmm.
so I'm really happy that that's kind of started to come back, and I'm trying different things. I'm trying to listen to more music. I've been listening to like the Strokes and been listening to some Arctic Monkeys, but I've also like been heavily going back into Keen and some other music that has been really inspiring. And so yeah, free write, like I'm gonna do one this week too for the third one, and I'm just really excited because every time I go in that room, I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's like one of the most spontaneous, exciting things happening in my creative world right now.
Hmm. That is awesome, man. Yeah, I watched the first two, and they're really amazing. Uh I don't know. Very, very excited, and I can't wait to hear the next one.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, good exercise as well. Just curious, why do you think? I don't know. Alex Turner kind of got stale, I think, with guitar, and that's why for the last two albums he wrote them mainly on piano, which is not like his main instrument. Have you ever? I guess. Yeah, I don't know if it got stale because you knew all the chords. Do you think maybe switching instruments or like another way? I think right now a good switch up and use it as much as you can is giving yourself an hour and timing it and pressure and see what happens, right? Musically, and but yeah, other ways to keeping it fresh.
Yeah, I think the main thing is like not think not thinking there's one way to write a song. Um on the most recent free write, I like thought about going back and adding stuff to the song if I ever did like do something with it. But it's funny because it's almost like verse, chorus, bridge, second bridge, chorus. But like in my mind, I thought, oh, I have to write a second verse. I have to do this, do that. But like, you don't have to do anything. And I think I think a song should be what it is. And it doesn't have to like conform to some structure, some arbitrary structure we've created, like with radio songs and such. Like, the song I write, I think that's the other thing about just the time constraint is that whatever I write, that is the song. I can expand upon it or whatever, but like the story is told through whatever structure I did. But in terms of like songwriting in general and like piano staleness, yeah, I've thought about finally like really getting into guitar maybe, and I think that exists down the road. Just as I know like you've been trying to work some piano into your life too and get better. I think you mentioned that in your newsletter.
Yes.
But I still feel like there are things to discover on the piano. And actually, so I know we played Somewhere Only We Know when we did our little session, the same session that we kind of went through a bunch of covers. And I actually learned the like actual piano part for Somewhere Only We Know, like exactly how it is on the record. And I think that really helped inspire me because like, yeah, they're playing chords, but they're very weird versions of chords. And now I want to really get into, the notes mattering a bit more. And it not being that an A has to be an A. It can be an A without these two notes, adding these other two notes. Just like the variation, even the variation where two verses have the same chords, but they're played so different.
Yeah, dude, I think that's the one of the coolest things about music is we'll never I don't know, we'll never be 100% at it. We're always going to be finding more stuff the deeper you dig. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I love the keyboard, and it helps me, I guess, like get things out of my head, or mostly just like little notes here and there. But there's still so much I need to learn on guitar and want to learn. And it's crazy that you bring up the different shapings or phrasings of chords, because I um I watched the Strokes. Well, Meet Me in the Bathroom documentary, which is about the 2000s, early 2000s music boom in New York. The Strokes are a huge part of that documentary, and something that they do. The two guitarists, Nick and Albert, use triads a lot and different chord phrasings all up and down the neck. So yeah, you can play an A 8 different times or 8 different ways, 8 different, and they all sound slightly different. I don't know. Cool you brought that up because I was working on the same thing today. So
Well, I think it's like it really, even though they're just slightly different, it's like there is probably one phrasing that fits better with like the lyrics in that moment, and like maybe that's the next step for us, is like going from the technical to like taking that technical and then applying it back to how we wrote songs when we didn't know how to play the instruments, like by feeling.
I agree. I'm excited for that curve. I think it's like a novice to master back to novice curve that like creates good art.
There's just something about the novelty of some of those early songs we wrote when we were like performing songs in the P space, and there was just the rawness because like we didn't know how to play our instruments well, so it was like, how do we make a good song? And so we had to kind of pull out all the other parts of songwriting harder to like compensate. But we probably didn't do that knowingly. Like it's just what like naturally happened. And so I really want to return to that because I think there are some great songs we wrote then that if we had the knowledge we have now could be great.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll find out soon. I think we're playing with that. And I guess that's what these calls are for. So we have, I'd say 4, maybe 5 songs in the pipeline ish, right? For the band Did I Hear Dare. That's really exciting. We're thinking about doing a revival of a song as well, which will be, again, exactly what Dom said. It's kind of like taking our early days and our naive song making ability, but then applying our now more so musical knowledge and seeing what happens. And that's really exciting. I was kind of questioning it before, but now I'm for it, and that's really cool. Cover art's kind of in progress, just kind of waiting to have a meeting with the artist, and then hopefully something in January is the goal, single or what have you, and EP, possibly LP, early next year.
And in addition to all of that, so Anthony and I, we spent like 5 hours together in a practice space, and actually it was more like 2 hours, but we kind of were just talking about it the other 3 hours afterwards. But
2 hours on the pre end, 2 hours on the back end, front end.
But we really we had the vibes of what we did in college, like when Anthony wrote Corner Store, and him and I kind of workshopped it for a while before we brought it to the band. And that kind of environment was something that I think both of us really missed. And so we've been going back and forth about, like we always try to send each other, MP3s of songs that we're working on. But recently, like, I don't think either of us have really been focused on songwriting except for the sessions we kind of had in the summer to get stuff ready for Did I Hear Dare. But we're looking for like what that next thing is going to be for us too. And I think we're talking about returning to our roots. Anthony, I just created this right now as we've been on this call. This folder in Dropbox is the P space. And the goal of this, the P space, is where we used to practice our songs, create our songs together as a group. And I told Anthony before he or kind of after he left, when we were discussing how great it was to play together again, that I think we need to have a system in which we can drop random fragments of songs that we're trying to write into this folder, and that either of us can kind of pick up these fragments and try to build a song. And I don't know, that the combination of piano, acoustic guitar, and our two vocals is something really interesting, a different sound than the kind of heavier rock that I hear Dare stuff, but in a good way. And I think it's something else that I hope that we explore further, and like maybe we have an album by the end of like a year of doing this or something. And that's really exciting. And so just open this up for us to start adding to our song library.
Open and ready for business. I'm very excited. I actually have a voice memo that I might clean it up a bit, but I had today, and then that's perfect though. It's like whatever ideas for melody, songs, verses, lyrics, no verse twos. We won't have any of those, but we can combine.
No
the
verse
first verses
twos.
we have.
There's never a verse two.
Never a verse two. Yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you for doing that. And yeah, hopefully we'll have updates on what we pieced together in the piece space together on the future calls.
So Anthony, I talked a bit about the catharsis of that weekend and a lot of things that I was able to get done. What's kind of been your journey from like the beginning of this phase till current, of what you've kind of been working on, what you've accomplished, and what like where you are right now?
Yeah, great question. I guess I'll start off with, it's wild that it's already November and we have a month left in this year. I know you said phase. You have a few phases in 1 year. I mostly have one giant year to do things. And yeah, let's open this up. So I think the main thing I talked about, I believe back in January or early workshop Wednesdays, I wanted to create a newsletter. I wanted to become better at writing for myself, have more clarity in thought, and just like, I don't know, put thoughts on the wall, throw spaghetti, see what sticks. So I have done a letters from Anthony every month, so I guess 5 or 6 months now. So I guess we had this call a little bit later, but yeah, this is my newsletter. I try to do it once a month, give or take like a week or two at the back end of the month, just in case I'm busy or like traveling to New York or have other things that I can't do it. But yeah, letter 5 just came out yesterday. I remember. Anyway, that's been really good.
I will say you've been more consistent than I feel like you've told yourself you've been. Like when I look at these dates now, like in front of me, you've kept it to once a month, really. And so that's impressive. From July on.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah. I think this is supposed to be June. So yeah, from the summer, June, July, August, and then September, yeah, August, rather than October. So now I'll have one at the end of this month and then one at the end of December, which will be good. But yeah, this is kind of the main thing I'm very proud of, and I don't know what I've been working on this year. Secondly, can you see the website?
Yep.
Okay, cool. This is my website. Dominic has been a huge inspiration here on just kind of updating it. I'm glad it's out there, right, and has yielded some cool things. But just wanted to do some maintenance on it. So nothing really changed here. I did learner doer. I had life XP grinder, which is cool. I like that phrase. I wanted to coin it, but there was nothing really upholding life XP or grinding, and I actually kind of have fallen away from that word, just because I feel like could have a negative connotation. So I don't know, I do learn things, I do things, and I do experiment and like a lot of, I mean, even this website and music and writing, anything really creative that I do is an experiment. And
Is
I
it
think,
is it negative because of the term XP or grinding, or what did you feel besides the obvious of like, if you're going to go with a phrase like that, like really heavily leaning into it in different parts, like what else kind of took you away from that?
I think it was having, so grinder word, to just kind of like mindlessly work really hard to achieve something. I think that was the main word that set me off. But Life XP actually got me off too, because of the 4,000 Weeks, the Oliver Berkman book. He says like something that people tend to do to solve their fear of death is just like amass as many life experiences as possible. And by
Gotcha.
doing so, if you're just grinding life XP, just kind of honestly like the mindset that I was in, the experiences get less meaningful as you amass them. So I changed it because I don't really care about doing everything and anything. I just want to be intentional and do what I want to do. Um, so I don't want to gather all the life XP, and I don't want to grind for it mindlessly. And that's why I changed that phrase.
Yeah, I think experimenter is good. You know, I feel like you'll be choosing, phrasing like you'll think. I feel like you'll think about it further. Like this isn't set in stone. Nothing is.
And
But
that's what experimenter is, right? Like once I get new information or new data, or I try something and it fails, or I try something and it works, then I'll update my philosophies, the way I think, and websites, etc.
But, it's really true. It's like if you look at both of us, right? Like all of my experiences are kind of in a similar lane.
Mhm.
And I like that, you look at your my journey, right? And it's just like just a bunch of different things, but they're things that if you know you, it makes sense. But they are very different things, and like they all have learning curves. And you push yourself to do that when you see the potential of it enhancing your life. And I think that's really awesome. And yeah, so I think about that a lot. Of you have a lot of varied experiences, and I think you will continue to. And so I feel like doer, experimenter, learner, all of those really do apply to the journey you've had so far.
Thank you. I maybe this call isn't for it. I've been trying to rework the My Journey page because I want it to be, and maybe it is just like a life documentation. Because we go to high school, it's like just like all the experiences I had in high school, which is cool. And I actually like one of my friends, when I was back in Ohio, said he looked through all of this, and we went to middle school together, and he really loved it, which was really cool and wild that he found it, because I'm like, who wants to read about student council in high school, etc. But I don't know. I thought it was cool, and again, maybe this page is just for me, and I'll keep it up for now. But I've been really, I'm glad. I don't know. I appreciate your words, because I don't know what I want to do with this yet.
So I know we kind of talked about this last night, so it may not be a surprise to anyone, including ourselves, but we talk outside of these calls.
Oh
Um,
no.
a lot of this stuff maybe we've already heard before, but we have to document it anyway. But we talked last night about that duality of we have like our main account and our creative account type of vibe, and talking about how much of ourselves we put out there. But I think it's funny that if you actually look at both of our sites, yours is way more personal, specifically because of the My Journey and the fact that you do a newsletter and a lot of a lot more personal things. Have you thought about that at all? Is that something that you've really considered with kind of the stance that you have with like putting yourself out there versus now looking at what you actually do have out there?
So that's interesting. We didn't something that we didn't talk about last night was that both of our websites and what we do put out there are usually pretty personal, but I think it's to provide more context to our future selves or the audience is like Dominic and I have a professional creative account and then our personal accounts with our friends and family for social media. And I think the feelings that we both get, I get a lot is like, I don't want to feel like I'm burdening my followers, my friends and family with my artistic endeavors when I post to my main account. So it's kind of like, hey, if you follow this account, like you're opting into me sending you creative stuff or you seeing creative stuff on your feed, and like that is on you for following it, and I kind of feel the same way with the website and the newsletter where it is extremely personal, and it's tough to I don't know. I'd love to. Yeah, I don't know. I still struggle with the duality, but the thing is, I think it's just that opt-in where if someone puts here, this will be good. I also changed this part right here. If someone joins the ride, what they're opting in for once or twice a month, they'll receive a letter from Anthony with updates and insights relating to intentional living. All they have to do is put their email address in here, and then that's what they'll get. No spam.
And so to you, that's kind of the same of if somebody decides to type your website in or follows your Instagram account.
Yeah.
Is
then
that
I'm like allowed. But yeah. So how is there a better way that you're what are your thoughts on how to I don't know.
well no, but I feel like your opinion slightly changed than maybe when we started. Because at first I felt like our difference was I'm not afraid to put myself out there. You were a little more. But now I feel like we're in kind of an equal setting of we'll put ourselves out there, but only to the extent of if people choose to see it.
Yeah.
Like maybe we've started to get to this point by doing these workshop Wednesdays and other stuff that we've definitely switched this to be for us. In a way that I think is beneficial to our productivity, but also could be detrimental to the other points of like trying to, are we really trying to get any of this seen at all? Or is this really just for us? And I feel like between us, the main thing that if lightning could strike would probably be us doing music together. And so maybe that's what we sometimes feel I feel very comfortable sharing music on my main account. I feel like sometimes you still have a little bit of the struggle with that one. But it's just fascinating. I feel like it's shifting now where the things we share on our main accounts are the things that we're maybe more proud of or think are more easily consumed or like not controversial or embarrassing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I guess time will tell, right? I've loved having this call with you and the one person who's watched any of well besides us, like
that we know
of. It was cool. I don't know, and I guess this call helps me, and as long as it still helps both of us, then we'll keep doing it. And I think I am still nervous about imposing or whatever my creative side to my main account, but I think I don't know, it's really cool when you have something like you said you're proud of, like music and our cover that we did, and I'm like, this is me, I want to share it. This is me, and that's it.
Side note to all of this, and it's going to be a little bit of extra work, but I think it's worth it to me. I'm going to go through, and you're going to hate this, but maybe love it. I'm going to go through all 10 workshop Wednesdays and pull out all of the goals that we set for ourselves this year. And that'll be what we review for the final one for the year.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking
I
about it
love that.
because I really do think we've gotten more done this year than we would have had we not done this.
And honestly, it'll be good. I think another thing that maybe people have noticed from Dominic and I is that, like, even though we produce good things, so and maybe this is the second thing we can talk about. Dominic released a great free write last week, and it was awesome. I watched it late, to be honest. He sent it to me early, but I couldn't see it before he sent it to me, and then he posted it. I didn't see it, and then I saw it the day after. And it was an amazing song that you wrote in 30 minutes, because you spent 30 minutes on of the hour writing another song that you scrapped. And it's like, you and I are both super hard on ourselves, where even if you produce something great, like, you might think it's shit. And I think that's the micro term. So, like, every small project that we do, it's not perfect and we're never happy with it. It feels like, for the most part, I feel like that's the case. And maybe we don't have to go there or not, but, like, validation from one another is helpful, and bouncing ideas off of each other, and even telling each other our goals and then executing is really helpful. And I think it might be cathartic as well if we go through all the goals, and then it's kind of like, objectively, our past is speaking to us, because who knows, like, I think we've hit maybe more than what we wanted to and set out to do, and we should be happy with that, because
No,
that is awesome.
100%. Because I know there are probably 2 or 3 that I didn't do, but there are probably 5 or 6 that, like, we didn't even talk about that happened. And
Yes.
so, yeah, it's definitely you can't take it at the face value of, oh, I didn't do everything I said I wanted to do, because you kind of have to look at, what did we do? And maybe the next 2 weeks, kind of, let's each make a list of what we have accomplished. Because it might be good to compare it to our past selves.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of surprises along the way. That's for sure.
Next 2 weeks, I wrote it down. That's a really good idea. That'll be a really good idea, and I think it would be a good case study to maybe, for, again, future selves, anyone watching this. It's like,
Because honestly,
not to
I
be
don't
so
know
hard
how
on
much
yourself.
either of us is going to get done before the end of the year. Like, not saying it in a negative way, but, like, the holidays are coming up. It's going to be the end of the work year and the end of the fiscal quarter. I don't know. There's just, like, a lot of the life outside of this stuff. And so, if we can get a couple other small things done, great. But I can't foresee any of those big milestones getting crushed in the next month. But who knows? But so just reflecting even now, it was a good year. And so I'm excited for us to talk about it a bit more. Yeah, so I'm going to share real quick. I made some website updates as well that I would love to share.
Heck yeah.
So same website as usual. I'll make it a little bit bigger. So theater page, I've updated, and I keep updating the reel as things happen, which is nice. But now I have the baker added here, and I added a lot more of my other roles that I didn't have before. I was kind of in a minimalist vibe, but this website is supposed to be a reflection, and so,
Yeah.
and with acting now, I instead of the YouTube embed, it still is YouTube embed, but I've chosen stills of these great character moments instead to be the.
Oh, so do you click it and then it takes you to
So you
YouTube?
click it and then the YouTube just
Oh,
starts
okay.
there.
That's cool.
But I like
How'd you
doing
do that?
this. I'll show you. It's really cool. And then music, I'm dividing up as I'm getting ready to really start to push for doing more music outside of Did I Hear Dare as well. Like solo music right now, like, and I'll add the one from this week, but like a free write song is a song I've written, and I'm gonna count those. I have my live performances, scores. This is all still roughly the same. And then I have or Did I Hear Dare page, which I love.
I also love.
I wish we would have done more music videos. That's just a thing that, like, in hindsight,
Yeah, I know.
Podcast
and
page
I.
is finally live. So my audio reel. So basically, how I've been doing reels for like every different facet of my performing. And so I've had this audio reel for a while, but I hadn't made the podcast page live. So now the audio reel goes with this. I have this is where this will go.
That's the other thing. Oh, but you already got it up. Nice.
And then YouTube, this is not a decision I made, but one that I guess web browsers made. My YouTube page just crashed every device that tried to load it. So I had to divide it up. So I have phase 1, part 1, which in hindsight is good because phase 1 was double the length of all phases that will come. So it being in 2 parts doesn't upset me too much. But if you look, like, I have different header and footer images for each phase and part, which I like.
Dude, there's so much there. That's so wild.
And then resume is what it has been. So those are some of those website updates, but I just thought we both are getting our websites to better places. I feel like we didn't neglect them, but we've had a lot of other things going on, and I feel like this end of the year is the time to kind of get our ducks back in a row. Because that's easy stuff to sit down and do, like at the park, on the bus, at a coffee shop. Like, there's some things, except I've kind of learned to do video editing and some of the big stuff in those places. But, this is definitely a more palatable thing to kind of end the year with. And since we've done a ton of things this year, these websites kind of have a little bit more going on. Like, all your newsletters are there now that you've done, and you'll have 2 more before the end of the year. And I'm hoping your My Journey, I'm hoping your 20s page becomes active, since you've done some stuff. So
yeah, I agree. I hope so. That'll be, I think, getting the website in a good set, all the ducks in a row, wrapping up the year and putting it on the internet so that we can start fresh, not fresh, but like in a great place. The next year is going to be the main goal. I think for the next, till the next call, which is good.
And this will kind of be a note just for us, as there are always just for us moments in these, which may not be how it always is, but just for our accountability, I'm hoping that we take whatever this workshop Wednesday is and take it to the next level next year. And so I'm excited for whatever that may bring. But it's more of just a note for ourselves.
Yeah. Future Dominic and Anthony in January. Or whoever watches this. I know you always say that, but like we're using proper mics now instead of just the computer mic. Dominic has an actual camera set up and is recording as well. So hopefully by January, February, I will also be upgrading my setup and just taking it to the next level. I guess another note for us or something that I wanted to say was I interviewed Dominic back in January, February of last year, and I really like podcasts. I like the idea of podcasts and doing one as well. But I just unfortunately don't have the time or energy to commit to that right now. Like, it's just not one of my priorities, one of my many priorities. I think I'd rather spend my time making music or writing. And so for that reason, I think Dominic and I have talked and merging my love for podcasts and our also want to upgrade and do this better. in a way, like Workshop Wednesday has been a podcast. It's been a personal podcast. It's again documenting our growth and goals, etc. But I think there's a lot of value in our conversations, and yeah, again, we'll see what happens, right? This whole thing is an experiment, but I think the next experiment is taking this up another level and potentially to a podcast level.
You know, it's that thing of like, sure, there's some like really big artists that you and I look up to. But there are also like some smaller artists that we look up to as well. And in the age of the internet, it's like, I feel like a lot of the people we look up to, we are able to know a bit about their journey by piecing it together from books, these like documentaries and these like behind the scenes videos. And I hope that at some point, someone getting such a raw look into two people just trying to accomplish their goals is like the closest someone can get to seeing the journey for all that it is, for its ups and downs. And that's kind of the goal of this right now, is to show like how difficult it can be, how much accountability there is, but also the idea of like, look at what people can do if they put their mind to something.
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally agree. I also think this is something that a high school Dominic or high school Anthony would have really loved, is like a peek behind the curtain. Like we're still producing the free writes, the newsletter writings, the polished updates, but the workshop is a view in the workshop. You know, it's dirty. It's not really clean. It's us having conversations on this stuff and what we didn't do, what we did do. And I don't know, that raw and realness, I think that authenticity is not saying that it's going to pay dividends, but like, I don't know, I think it'll be appreciated.
It's
by no one
something we
else but
always talked about too. I remember like even when we were getting to know each other, we like tried so hard to find raw moments like this of the artists that we looked up to, because we wanted to like compare ourselves to them. You know?
yeah.
I don't know.
And I think we're more obtainable or relatable than a lot of people, because like we're both working, we're both figuring it out, we both moved to new cities, we both have a lot of different life stuff happening, and we both have many avenues of creativity and things that we're better at or not better at, like that we're figuring it out.
Like by the end of all of this, we may still be in like similar fields or jobs that we're in right now. But if we also do all of this, like that's such a fulfilling life to me. And I think that it's an attainable thing for anybody. Like to just, if you have that song or that album that like you've been sitting on all this music, it's like, go try to meet somebody who can help you finish that, or try to figure it out for yourself. Like don't give up at the phase of what you know, because you can learn, or you can meet other people, like because you don't know if there's like someone living in the same dorm building as you who like wants to mix music but doesn't write good music themselves, or if like you know how to sing, they know how to play the guitar, somebody knows how to video edit and you're an actor. Like those are the connections that you'll want to make in your life, and like it is attainable, and you don't give up at the phase of what only you are able or capable to do at the time.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
in anything else before we talk about wrapping? I'd love, I guess, at the end of the session before we sign off, is just like our goals for the next couple weeks and wrapping up. But yeah,
I'm ready.
Else?
Oh, one other thing. I don't know if I'll cut this in, but I'll leave it. But I did my first commercial acting gig here in New York. Very exciting. Something that I have a slot open on my featured Friday that if it comes out in the next few weeks, that I will use that. But that was kind of a goal of not something that I really like thought about wanting to do, but feels like part of my journey. And it was really exciting. And it's the reason that I got that little PS5 over there. So
Yes, and if Dominic does decide to keep this in, he sent me his audition tape, and it might have been one of the best Dominic things that I have watched. It's like 30 seconds, and the art, or like, I don't know what it is, but something's very attractive about it, and it makes me laugh and think it's genius. So hopefully maybe he adds it in. We'll see. I know this is just creating more work for you. I always meme about it, but it is
it's
worth
always
it.
creating more work, but that's the point.
He's putting it right here.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
Let's wrap this thing up before Dominic has more to do. Alrighty, so the next couple weeks, what I would like to do, so something I haven't done, and I know it's gonna bite me in the butt 10 times or whatever, is the documentary. Dominic and I, we did have a good stretch of me actually putting it together in pieces. I don't know, like I was actually doing it consistently for about a week, and then we were like, oh shoot, I need to focus my attention on getting guitar in for Cooper, and learning and practicing vocals for New York. So instead of doing the doc, I sat in my closet and just sang the songs. I sent Dominic a video, something similar that he would have done. It's just like 3 cameras and just singing to myself in the closet. Anyway, my 2 goals are have some more on the doc. I think with the Thanksgiving break as well as Christmas break, I'll have some time off from work, and I hope I don't have anything else to do because I'm working on the website. I'll have 1 newsletter. I should, that will be a priority. The other priority that actually supersedes that is, I think next week Cooper is going to have a mix down of one of our songs, and by the 20th, I need to send some just updated guitar takes.
For 2 of the other songs.
So updated guitar, number 1. Number 2, it's going to be newsletter because I'm going to procrastinate, and it's going to be, but anyway, that's going to be that. And then documentary. Those are my 3 things. Dominic.
All right, my 3 things. Getting a few more free writes in. I think contributing to that P space now is going to be exciting. Looking into the next phase of equipment. And 4, I think really getting the website to a place that I'm really happy with. And last thing is finishing out the phase and really thinking about what next phase will be. So
I look forward to it. Alrighty.
All right.
Stuff, Dominic.
See you on the next one.
See you on the next one. Peace.